Is this the dagger?
G'day guys, JB here. The conference finals of the 2026 NBA playoffs are in the books, and we have our championship contenders set and ready to go for what could be either an absolute barn burner of a series or one that could be over very, very quickly. Of course, Game 7 has just wrapped up in the Western Conference. It was nothing but an absolute battle in the West. Meanwhile, on the other side, in the East, it was a one-sided affair and an absolute mauling by the end of it. So let's get into it. Let's get into my review for the conference finals in both the East and the West for the 2026 NBA playoffs. Of course, starting in the East, as we have all series, and that's the New York Knicks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And as I mentioned before, it was nothing but a one-sided affair, with the New York Knicks dominating the series 4-0, a massive sweep for the Knicks in a series that is going to be remembered by many as the time the Knicks re-announced themselves in the Eastern Conference and put themselves back on the map. For others, it's going to be the time that Cleveland all but conceded to the analytic crowd and put in some very poor performances indeed. Struggled to get over 100 twice. The Knicks not so much. They only failed to get over 110 once in the series. Game 1, a win to the Knicks, 115-104. Game 2, a win to the Knicks, 109-93. Game 3, a win to the Knicks, 121-108. And an absolute belting in Game 4, 130-93. Nothing but a one-sided affair right there for the Knicks. Their best player in the Eastern Conference Finals, MVP, the Larry Bird Trophy. Not that it really means much in the great context of things, but Jalen Brunson, the best player in the series. 25.5 points, 3.3 rebounds, 7.8 assists, 1 steal, and 2.5 turnovers a game. Shot 48.7% from the field, 18.2 from deep, and 78.6 from the free throw line. Overall, when you look at New York, they dominated offensively, they dominated on the glass, they had better ball movement, they had better defense, they maintained possession, they shot the ball better from all over and converted better at the stripe. Ultimately, they dominated the contest from the entire team standpoint and even from an individual standpoint, everyone that contributed really having a say there. Mikal Bridges on fire, OG Anunoby on fire, Karl Anthony Towns limited in what he was able to produce, but still able to be a contributing factor. Double-digit points for Josh Hart as well, really stepping up, and they just really looked in place there. All 5 players that I mentioned there, 14 points or more per contest. On the other side of things for Cleveland, it was Donovan Mitchell once again leading the way on the offensive end, much as he did all year. 27.3 points to go with 3.5 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 2.5 steals and half a block on 3.5 turnovers, 47.5% from the field, 37.8 from deep and 73.1 from the free throw line. Next best scoring option, Evan Mobley, 17 points a game, and he shot 49.1 from the field. Wasn't quite there defensively as he has been or needed to be, and they saw the results there. Jarrett Allen, 11 points, around 12.7 rebounds for the series on 60% shooting. And James Harden, 16 points on, you guessed it, 38.9 from the field, over 4 turnovers a game. Proved to be the thorn in the side they certainly did not need. New York just absolutely bamboozling everything that was the Cleveland Cavaliers. In summary, really, it was the Knicks to lose, and that's essentially what they didn't do. They dominated the series there. As I said, a demolition job, and they delivered on their preseason expectations to make the NBA Finals. Everyone spoke about it in preseason, exactly what are we looking to expect out of New York, where do we think they can finish, what do we think they can do, and the ultimate answer was, well, they probably should be going to the NBA Finals, and that's exactly what they've done. They have been on a dominant run in the postseason, particularly after a slower start against Atlanta in their first series. They have dominated the last 2 and continue to dominate now. They will be very happy that they've had a week's break to see exactly what happens with them in the postseason. And finally, for me, Jalen Brunson, the ultimate proof that you must bet on yourself if you're going to win. You talk about the pay cut, you talk about the sacrifice to get out from under Luka Doncic in Denver. There's plenty of things that you can really converse about exactly what Jalen Brunson has done, but ultimately he has put the team on his back. He has been the ultimate leader, and that's exactly why they're in the position that they're in. You've only got to go and look. And I revert back to this a lot in their very first game. His first game as a Nick, he takes the charge, he sends it to OT, puts his body on the line and says that he's here, takes that $100 million plus pay cut, gets his Villanova teammates in, gets some guys in that are happy to play a role. On top of that, full credit to Mike Brown, really revolutionising this team from the defensive-minded team that it was to the offensive team that it is now, and balancing those minutes. But Jalen Brunson, real proof that if you bet on yourself, you're the number one investment that can happen there. So massive work for him. Congratulations to the Knicks, their first finals since 1999, and we'll see exactly how it pans out, because their opponent, much like in 1999, was the San Antonio Spurs. And speaking of the Spurs, a dominant Game 1 win, down 3-2 in the series after 5, dominant Game 6 win, controlled the game to win Game 7, and dethroned the reigning defending Oklahoma City Thunder from their championship to create a spread of parity the league hasn't seen ever. The San Antonio Spurs defeating the Oklahoma City Thunder 4-3, making their way back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2014. It'll be the first time the San Antonio Spurs make their way to the NBA Finals without Tim Duncan or Greg Popovich. So a massive, massive effort to them, and exactly what they're producing under Mitch Johnson and alike there in San Antonio. We'll run through it where we can, but the Magic Johnson Trophy winner, the MVP of the Western Conference Finals, Victor Wembanyama, put his stamp on this series. 27.3 points, 10.9 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1.4 steals, 2.7 blocks on 2.7 turnovers, 48.1 from the field, 40% from deep, and 89.5 from the free throw line. A massive series from him, a massive series for San Antonio, who really went up against it, against the reigning defending number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. And when you look at all the results this year, they were the bogey side for San Antonio, and while it did take 7 games, they were able to deliver on that there. Big contributions: Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper, Julian Champagny, De'Aaron Fox, all players with double-digit scoring or more. Just a massive effort from them to get over the line. A young team, but an improving team, and one that's going to be a force for a number of years to come. When you look at the age of all of those guys there, all of them under 30, a lot of them under 25. That is the core of a team that has a lot of upside to them. On the other side of things for Oklahoma City, SGA, big final game. He certainly was performing unders compared to his season. There's no doubt about that. Massive contributions across the board from Jared McCain, from Alex Caruso, from AJ Mitchell, all throughout the season and all throughout the series. But no Jalen Williams in Game 7, and you could argue no Chet Holmgren in Game 7, proved to be costly. Shea, 25.9 points, 2.9 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 1.9 steals, and 0.9 blocks on 3.1 turnovers. 40.9% from the field, 28.6 from deep, 93.8 from the free throw line. Certainly not the MVP performance that he had during the year, but he was clearly the best player there for OKC. Alex Caruso, 15 points a game, shot the absolute lights out from deep at 50%, 47% from the field. Jared McCain, 13.1 points, shooting 36.6 from the field. Chet Holmgren managed 10.7 points, 7.1 rebounds, only 4 and 4 in that last game of the series, shooting 51%. Jalen Williams, in the limited games that he saw, only the 3, 10.3 points. In case of Wallace, 10.1, and was the pick of the defenders there for the OKC Thunder. When you look at the series in a summary, Game 1, double overtime, 122-115 to San Antonio. Return, 122-113 to Oklahoma City. They then get the 2-1 jump against the Spurs, 123-108. Spurs return the favour, splitting home much like they did on the road, 1-1 with a 103-82 victory. OKC Game 5 getting it done, 127-114, and you just thought that maybe they would get the job done on the road. But the Spurs, 27-point victors, 118-91, and then Game 7, just today, as we mentioned, 111-103. The Spurs heading through to the NBA Finals. They've arrived, and they do appear to be here to stay. Now, comparatively, when you look at when the Spurs made the Western Conference Finals in 1999, of 12 players, only 4 of them were under 30. That's right, 8 of their 12 players in the 1999 conference finals were over 30 years old. You turn that around to this year, in 15 of the 15 players that made and got minutes in the conference finals, only 5 of them are over 30. And they have a very young core group. That's what I mean by saying they've arrived and appear to stay. If they were to win the title, they may very well be the youngest team to ever do it. The other contenders there are the 77 Blazers and the 91 Bulls. That's the level of run they potentially have up their sleeve, particularly when you look at the talent that's there. And in a really brief summary, Victor Wembanyama would absolutely stamp his Hall of Fame ticket if he won a championship. The only major individual award he would then not have is the league MVP. Now, when you go through league history, guys to win those major awards as far as Rookie of the Year, League MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP, it's a very short list. Michael Jordan is that list. Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Finals MVP, Michael Jordan is the only player on that list. I'm happy for anyone to go and double check that, but he is the only player on that list. That is some very, very elite company. Tim Duncan didn't win a Defensive Player of the Year. Giannis didn't win Rookie of the Year. Hakeem Olajuwon didn't win Rookie of the Year. David Robinson didn't win a Finals MVP. It is a very short list of guys to do all of that. That's the kind of potential that we're seeing right now out of Wemby. He would all but stamp his Hall of Fame ticket, and you would have to say, with the momentum that he's building, probably going to be the favourite for the MVP next year. And then all of a sudden we're having a very different conversation about the man. But the Spurs move through in 7 and they go on to face the New York Knicks. And that will be 4 days' time. First 2 games in San Antonio. The next 2 games will be in New York. Games 5 through 7 from there will be San Antonio, New York, and San Antonio. I think we're in for an absolute barn burner of a series. Anyway, guys, that's been me. That's been my review for the conference finals for the 2026 NBA playoffs. Let me know what you think, how you thought everyone performed across each series. New York, are they going to benefit from the rest, or are they going to be too lackadaisical going up against the Spurs on the other side of things? The Spurs, yeah, they get a 3 or 4 day break, but they have gone 7 games with arguably the best team of the last 3 years. Does that take it out of them? Does a lack of experience hurt them? It'll be very interesting to see exactly how that unfolds. Anyway, guys, that's been me. I'm out.